Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings, family. Welcome to the Sajdah channel. And today is day 4 of the Sajdah Decca Fest, which is the 10-day celebration between my birth, my physical birth, and my spiritual birth. So today we're going to talk about leadership. So sit back, tell a friend, like and subscribe, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judges, and none can judge against Thee. And he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee. And I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
I have received so many pleasures, so many very good to look at, whether you own them or not. It's a pleasure just to look at such presents. Why, I have never witnessed so many presents. I think I have to build me a house for presents. This shows what Allah can do for you and me if we believe in Him.
There is nothing that we could not accomplish in the name of God. You know what your problem is? You don't have even a worthy goal to strive after. I'm going to give you an assignment today. Here's an assignment. Is there something you want? Do you want something? Something that you want, but you have not been able to get it? Huh? Close your eyes. Do you see it? Whatever it is that you want, first envision it. You got the picture. Do you see it? All right, now the question is, you have to claim what you see. I claim this. I claim it. I believe with all my heart in the name of God that I'll bring what is in my imagination into reality. We're going to bring it back like it never was. I see in the dome the name Allah written in Arabic But I can't just dream. I gotta go to work. How do you bring it into concrete reality? First, without faith, you can't work the vision.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace and blessings. Welcome to the Sajdah channel. Sorry, I had a little delay. I was I was doing a little meditation while those commercials were showing, and I was reminded of sitting in the audience during that lecture where the minister was talking about a worthy goal. And he started talking about how to manifest your goals. And I remember practicing that. And it's interesting because when Sister Sajdah was helping me to put this Decafest together, she had a subtitle called The Making of Sajdah. And I said, well, that's the name of the book, so let's not call the Decafest that. And she said, well, I think it's important that we talk about certain key elements that helped you to become you in this 10-day period between your physical birth and your spiritual birth is a great place to do it. And I'm still a little shy about it, but I'm like, okay, let me dive in. Let's do it online this year. Next year, we'll make it a whole 10-day celebration with day 10 being just a big, giant celebration, going over principles that have been germane to my success. And when I say success, I don't just mean success in terms of acquiring things or success in terms of building things. I'm talking about success in terms of being able to set myself up and be working towards becoming a conduit for Allah, and for this great love that I learned from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So one of the things that's important to me are a couple of things that we kind of toy around with and just throw out there as spiritual people. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that our word should be our bond, and we should give our life before our word shall fail. And for many of us, we don't really take that seriously. For me, I've been taking that seriously for a very long time. Even if I give my word to myself about something, okay, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. and work out. I keep my word to myself. I'm really conscious about not lying to myself and not accepting lies into my spirit. And a lot of people lie and they don't mean any harm by it. I mean, we all do it. Nobody's perfect. But a lot of times we just simply don't mean any harm. We simply just are so accustomed to fake news, false information, making moves based on information and data that is not real. We become so accustomed to that that becomes our lives. And then our will becomes so weak. And the beautiful thing is that our study guides given to us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, there's a study on building the will. And for a lot of us, our willpower is so diminished. And when you couple that with the fact that we're dealing with false information, we're liars, and then our will is weak, now all of a sudden we can't make things happen. We can't materialize. We can really only just do a good job at following instructions. And so we're not creators and we're not leaders because, among other things, but those two primary things are not there. And so in our discussion today on leadership, I really want to focus on our word being our bond and our will, and how working on that kind of thing and practicing making my word bond and building my will has helped me to grow and elevate by leaps and bounds. One of the things you all know that if you took the last financial trauma boot camp, we took a pledge. And the key thing is to stop lying to ourselves and stop being phony. For many of us, let me tell you something. It will bother me to my core if you ask me to work on a project and I just let it fall on the floor and I see it fail and I know that there's something that I was supposed to do, that I won't let that happen on my watch. So if you say, hey, Sajdah, we're going to partner up on this, I'm going to do everything to do my part. I'm going to be pushing you because my word to myself and to you is more important than anything. And then once I make my word bond, now my willpower goes in to help solidify it. And I'm going to make sure it happens. But what I've noticed, especially with a lot of us so-called spiritual people, and I don't know that we realize that this is what is the driving force that really makes us no different from people who are not spiritual and not religious. We just might not be ratchet out there living a certain lifestyle, but because our word is not bond and our will is weak, we're not reliable. We're not powerful. We're not leaders. We can't lead a project. We can't lead an effort because we're really just faking. We're good time Charlies. We're in it for the moment. It's okay. It's fun. It's cool right now. It makes sense to do. But what about, hey, I'll tell you, hey, sister, you got me involved in this. Are you still doing it? Because if you're not, I get it, but at least I can honestly walk away and say, I did my part. And many of us are comfortable being where dreams go to die. So whether we have a business or a board, whether we're in leadership, we have no problem with killing somebody's dream or just letting the dream die. It's real easy for us. It's real easy for us to entertain ourselves on the phone, in a meeting, in a conversation. Oh yeah, I could call so-and-so, so-and-so. Oh yeah, I'll be there. I'll help you. Because when it's time to get on the camera, when it's time to look like we down and we involved, we're there. But for many of us, nothing we say that we are going to do or be involved in comes to fruition. And I'm going to show you all a video right now because I want you to understand how important these two elements are in our development as emerging leaders. See, a lot of us want to be leaders, but we're not willing to put in the work and do what we have to do to become leaders. And here's the other side of it. If you're posting up as a leader, if you want to be treated as a leader, because you probably know that God wants you to be a leader. And if you aren't practicing the things that leaders need to be practicing, if you aren't performing the exercises of the gods, then all of a sudden, all the endeavors that you're you're a part of, you'll see them kind of fall flat. And it'll be something very small, very small. Maybe you got involved in something and didn't, excuse me, and didn't make your word bond. Maybe that's what you did. That's a very, 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 very important leadership trait. Okay. So I want to show you a video that's talking about willpower and your word being bond. It's only 5 minutes, but I think in context of what we're talking about, it will help to solidify it for you. Anybody who knows me, when I put my mind to something and I start to laser focus and start to exercise on trying to make my word bond, exercising my will, pushing through, bringing all the forces that I know how to bring, meditating on it, visualizing on it, emotionalizing around it, I'm going to do it. And most of the time, you see things amazing happen. And it's not because I'm so amazing. It's because the exercises and the practices of the God that I'm engaging in. And there's been times where I've been working on something or I'm doing something and I didn't exercise that will, or I didn't do those things, and it fell flat, just like a lot of the stuff that a lot of us are currently working on. Some of us have a business and our word is not bond in our business. I am so keen because I practice this. When I walk into a business, I can feel and I can tell that the person who runs the business, their word is their bond. I can tell when I look at you and when you're talking about your business, whether or not your willpower is intact and whether or not your word is your bond. I can tell if I do business with you and you say you're going to do something and you drop the ball and you have this really heavy energy. You feel like a fat person sitting on somebody because you're so heavy, because you have no momentum in your spirit and in your soul, because your word is not bond. Your will is not powerful. So you're heavy. You're a burden on the team. You're a burden on the board. You're a burden on the person that partners with you. Doesn't mean that they don't love you. Doesn't mean that you're not a loving person. But what it simply means is that you're heavy because you're not helping to lift the weight of making sure that this opportunity that we're working on becomes manifest. And a lot of times when I go into business with people, I give them revenue opportunities. I'll say, hey, help me work on this. Help me create on this. When we get it up and going, you'll earn, X amount, 10%, 20%. And oftentimes that's not enough for people, but yet they will say, and you'll see them depressed, sad, upset because they can't make any money, but they won't work towards the opportunities that literally just fall in their lap. So let's talk about why. Because it's not that you're a bad person. It's not that we're bad people. We just have not been taught how to exercise these principles, which is why our dreams are dying. And when other people come to you and they entrust their dreams in you, then their dreams are just going there to get buried and to die. So this is so critical. Okay, we cannot call ourselves men and women of God if we don't learn to have momentum and move our spirit. We don't learn these little exercises that will help us get to that next level. This is the reason why we're heavy. It's the reason why nobody want to mess with you sometimes, because you're just heavy. And the unfortunate thing is that a lot of us end up in leadership positions. We end up in board positions. We end up in big positions, even on our job. But we become disengaged employees and disengaged board members and disengaged pseudo leaders because there's no momentum. And the reason why we become disengaged, because we're just heavy, we're just fat, we're just a burden, and nobody can lift it. So what people start doing is they start using you as a fixture, putting their clothes on you and having you carry stuff and sitting stuff on top of you, because you're just sitting there in the middle while everybody is trying to work and trying to manifest. And if you get one of these heavy persons on your team, or one of these heavy persons that you're working with, or if you are that heavy person, you'll see your project go downhill overnight, until you either, I'll come on the other side and I'll tell you what to do when you are that person, or you're dealing with that person. We'll talk about it on the other side of this video. So give me a second here to get this set up for you.
You know, for whatever reason, society has taught us to be turned on by six packs, right? Sexy men with nice muscle. This is coming from a guy that used to lift weights and wanted to be Mr. Olympia, or women that have beautiful thighs and nice legs and nice toes and 36, 24, 36, beautiful face. Oh my gosh, she's so sexy, right? Or even when it comes down to business, or folks who are talented, who speak so well, they're so eloquent with the way they put their words together. Oh my goodness, this is so crazy. But behind closed doors, in the world of business, I've seen so many talented people, so many folks who are brilliant, so many of them who are semi-geniuses, right? But behind closed door, they lack one thing, and that is willpower. Let me tell you what I mean by willpower. As crazy as it sounds, some of the most crazy, tough, intense, strong, brutally tough to the point that you can't do anything to stop them are those that on the outside don't seem impressive. Some of the most impressive people I've ever met. Because deep down inside, there's one thing they don't compromise. And let me tell you what that is. Again, willpower. What is willpower? Here's what willpower is. You'll hear a lot of times people say, you know what, I'm going to try to give my best. I'll give my best. I'll see what'll happen. Yeah, I'm going to try my best. I'll try to be at this thing. Yeah. I'm going to do my best. I'm telling you, I don't know, but I'm going to do my best. We'll see. I'm going to do my best and all this other stuff. There's always an out to their commitment. Yeah, but there's always an out. There's always a way to exit. So flight, and I don't have to fully commit to making it work, right? Always. Then you have a small group of people. These groups of people are like somebody you go on a date with, and you're sitting there, you're looking at this person, and then you start talking to them and you ask a question. Then you feel the depth. And you say, wait a minute, that was different. Where is this depth coming from? You sit down with somebody, you're at a lunch, and there's 4 or 5 people. There are new people you're meeting. One of the guys you knew, one of the girls you knew. And then somebody not talking. 30 minutes later, he opens his mouth and gives his thoughts on something. And you start peeling the onion. You start layers on top of layers. Like, wow, it's pretty intense. What she just said, or what he just said. Or you start doing business with somebody, and casually the person says, no problem, I'll get that person's phone number to you by 2 o'clock today. 2 o'clock today, you get the phone number. You forgot about it. She didn't forget about it. Casually, you do business with somebody and they tell you, next Friday at 4 o'clock, I'll get this email to you with the 10 things you requested. You forgot about it. Next Friday, 4 o'clock, you get the email with everything you requested and more. What happened to this person? Willpower. When they say they're going to do something, they do it. Now, the other person that's talented, they sell you on this dream and it's so amazing and it's so phenomenal. I'm going to come through for you. No follow through, no follow up, just gibberish, just talk, just looks, just sexy on the outside, but on the inside, willpower is missing. Look, there's a lot of things you can lose. There's a lot of things you can compromise. There's a lot of things that's okay if you drop the ball on. It's okay if you drop the ball on a lot of different things. It's okay maybe you're not the most eloquent communicator, speaker out there. It's okay if you're not the smartest. It's okay if you're not the brightest. But it's not okay if you say you're going to do something and you don't come through. Because there's only one person it hurts when you say you're going to do something and you don't come through, and that's your willpower. And the more and more and more your willpower gets used to you saying things and not doing, your willpower stops having faith in the words that come out of your mouth. And the moment your willpower, your spirit stops having faith in the words that come out of your mouth, whatever you start telling yourself, your mind is telling you, whatever, he's not going to do it. She's not going to do it. He's all talk. He's not going to do it. No substance, all looks. all sexy on the outside, all attractive, but on the inside, no follow through, no follow up, no willpower. Never, ever put yourself in a situation where you hurt your willpower. Never. Because eventually the world, businesses, companies, families, anything is ran by leaders, not because they're talented, not because they speak better than everybody else, not because they're the best at reading books, not because they have the fanciest degree, because in a boardroom, when this guy or this gal says he or she is going to do something, you can bank it. You can cash the check, baby. And people like that are not a dime a dozen. They are rarer than diamond. You can rarely find people like this. And when you find people like this, you lock onto them because they're going places. The market values anybody that this here, when they say something they're going to do, they do it. If you're somebody like that and you're about to work on your willpower and it's not as good as you think it is, start small. Say something you're going to be doing, do whatever you can to make it happen. Make some commitments, do whatever you can to make sure that commitment comes through. Stop saying, I'll try my best. I'll see what I can do. Start saying, I will get it done by. We will get this done by. I will commit to this and get it done by. I will, we will, and then come through. More and more and more you put these things together, these events together, eventually you start kind of sitting up a little bit. You're confident, your eyes change, and people start looking at you saying, why do you look at people like this? Why do you have that look on your face? It's called willpower. You can call it whatever else you want, but really, underneath everything else, it's simply willpower. And people who work with that person know that that person's got willpower. And once you get that, no matter what room you're in, you declare what you're going to be doing. Everybody looks around and says, listen, man, if she's saying it's going to get done, if he's saying it's going to get done, you want to be there. It'll take you places you never thought were possible. Having said that, have a great week, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Powerful stuff. Powerful. Do you know that? Let me tell you how powerful these principles are that we're talking about. Because when you are a chronic liar, and I'm using that word because I want you to hear it and feel it, because there's so much emotions attached to somebody who's a liar. But us not realizing that by not making our word bond and not doing what we say we're going to do, that we are being liars. I think it's important that we let that sink in. Do you know that when you build your will and you become so powerful with your mind, and you say things to your physical body will respond to what you say and think when you keep your word and when your will is strong. When you don't keep your word, you can't command anything around you. You're going to be walking around with all kind of fears and all kind of worries. Why? You're worried about this thing attacking you or this thing coming up on you because you know you ain't got no will to fight it. Your faith is weak. But if you want to lose weight and your will is powerful, you can say to your body, heal, lose weight. You can say, I need $20,000 by tomorrow, and it'll happen. This ain't no magical stuff. This ain't no fanciful stuff. This is just decolonizing your mind and your methodology and the way that you do things. See, because you and I are colonized people, regardless of what race we are, most of us are colonized people. So we're used to somebody else doing stuff, and we hold other people for keeping their word, but we don't keep ours. I want my check on Friday. I work 40 hours. They better pay me. When I get to work, such and such better be in place. But then we go and get on the job and we sit and we're disengaged. We go on the job and we steal all of the supplies and we steal time and we clock in at one time to say we there an extra hour. We do all of these things where our internal word is not bond, and we have messed up our connection with the source of our power. We have killed the God within. Let me see what y'all talking about in the chat. Let's see who we got here. I see Sister Aurelia's here. She says, Grand Rising from the land of enchantment known as New Mexico. Grand Rising, my sister. I see Brother Troy Scott. He says, peace, family. Peace to you, Brother Troy. I see Mom in the chat. She says, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you as well. Let me go down here. Oh, I see y'all been popping this morning, huh? Owner Financial Real Estate and Land says, honor your words, sis. And see, Sister Aurelia said, avoid the dream killers. Teach on putting in the work. It will take years. It was a short journey and quick gain. Yeah. Let me say something about that, because everything don't have to take long. Everything don't have to be in a long journey. You can collapse time by practicing these principles. It doesn't have to take a long time. What generally takes things a long time is because it takes us a long time to grow and develop to the point where we can be who we need to be in order to have what we need to have. So in order to say I am, be, and it is, it takes us a while to develop, because remember, we're doing this in the midst of a society where truth is not valued. And so we're learning how to recognize truth, look for Allah in everything, find a way, and starting with these practices of keeping our word, okay? Starting with these practices of building our will. Things from the study guides entitled Self-Improvement, the Basis of Community Development, which is the exercises of the God. And so down to the mustard seed, the microcosm level, we have to be saying, my word is my bond. I said I was going to be there at 10. I will get a speeding ticket before I'm late if I told somebody I was going to be somewhere at a certain time. Unless I can reach them and say, hey, I apologize, I'm running a few minutes late, I will say that. I'll put my time in the text and say, hey, GPS says I'll be there at 9:02 or whatever. But making sure that my word is bond. And if there's something that happens in this world where I can't make my word bond, I make sure that I communicate that with the person. I want it to be where if you come and sit next to me somewhere, you're going to get some kind of benefit. I'm going to be an asset in some kind of way. I'm going to be who I am striving to be. Now, are we going to be perfect? No. Is it sometimes going to take longer? Yes. Are we going to participate in dream killing? And that's all going to happen. But I agree with you, Sister Aurelia. In some cases, some processes take longer, but in a lot of ways, the better we are at practicing these skills, we can collapse time. Everything don't have to take long. A lot of times things are taking long because you got people involved whose word is not bond, whose will is not strong. Doesn't mean they're not good people. Doesn't mean they mean any harm. They just are not there yet. And everybody is experiencing this earth, this world in different ways because we're all at different stages of growth and development. So we don't look down on one another because we're at different stages of growth and development. We just try to do what we can to uplift, help, and support somebody so that they can see their way through that stage of their growth and development. And maybe things don't take very long. For spiritual people, a quick gain or a quick benefit or for things to move fast doesn't impact us the way a quote unquote quick gain does when a person is not spiritual. See, if you're a spiritual person and you get a windfall of money, that means something different to you than if you're a non-spiritual person and you go play the lottery, or you get a unbeknownst amount of money, something you didn't know where it was coming from, that's going to hit different on a non-spiritual person. But for those of us that are spiritual, we understand what things we can do that are quick and what things we can do that are not so quick. And once we get the hang of it, once we understand the formulary, we start producing, we start collapsing time, we start moving faster. The challenge becomes God gives us bigger and bigger assignments the more we elevate from one level to the next. And so then that process can also seem to take longer. But everything doesn't have to take long. And a quick gain is not a bad thing if you're spiritual. Okay. Yes, brother said that makes sense. Yes, lifting the burden, it becomes very burdening. You get real heavy when you are not practicing this, because I'll tell you something else. It's like anything else. When you look in a microscope and you look at cells that are together and you start seeing them gelling together, and then they start to morph together and become one, and you start seeing all this movement between the cells. It's like that in physical life. So if you start to hang around people whose cellular level reflects these principles, their word is their bond, they're manifestors, they're manifesting in the face of controversy, they know how to do this, then those cells start to morph together. And where your cells might be weak, you'll start having aha moments. As Oprah says, I see it. Okay, I get it. Just from being around another person who is practicing these principles and even practicing them successfully. See, if you start having too many conversations with people that are not at this level, then sometimes you're not strong enough to carry their burden. Let me know in the chat if this is making sense. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Monica. She says, Assalamu alaikum. A great Monday all. And I say, wa alaikum salam. Yes, hacking your own mind. Yeah, hacking your own mind. Here's the thing, dear brother. Hacking your own mind. I used to say that. I used to say I need to hack my mind. The hack is interesting, and mind meaning that, let me say it this way. I stopped saying that because I don't want to own this mind that I got to hack. I don't want to own a computer that I got to hack to get into it. I want to own a computer that I can just simply program and make it do what it do. So words have energy, right? We learned in our manifestation class, I think, when was it? Last year we did it. In manifestation class, we learned the spiritual power of words. If you did not attend manifestation class, or you weren't part of that 19-week series, then get on the show, look at the links. I think there's a playlist on the manifestation series, and go through that series, because the words that we choose, while they may have been okay at one point, we have to now start to change and use different words, because words have energy. So we want to just be able to deploy these exercises of the gods and reprogram or program our mind so we can say be, and it is. See, if we have to hack our mind, it's like saying you got to hack a computer. Well, the computer is still the computer. Even if you hack it, you might be on the inside of it, but is it yours? Do you own it? Why are you hacking it? Why you can't just get in it? You see? So let's start to adjust our word and make sure that the language we use with ourselves is a language that's going to produce the frequency that we need to get to that next level. See, a lot of us have done a great job getting to this point where we are today. And now we need some additional language. We need some additional expansion. We need something that's going to help to raise our frequency. And that's what these types of podcasts are designed to do. That's what our financial trauma boot camp is designed to do. Access different language, different words that are going to expand your spiritual vocabulary, all right, so that you can have different conversations with yourself, okay, and then expand to that level. And then you go and study and you get some more language. That sometimes are the things that take time. But if we're really focused on this, we can start to collapse time, if you will. Interesting, right? We're going to talk. We may do a thing where we talk about time. I know yesterday, Minister Ishmael was so powerful in his discussion on the evil accident of time. We're going to talk about that soon. See, Sister Monica says, yes, set yourself up in heaven at once, working towards that valuable final product with those skills you share. All praises due to Allah. All praises due to Allah that you received that. Thank you. Yes. Yes, collapsing time. You can collapse time with the faster you work on yourself. So you want to become a leader, you go inside, you study yourself. The more you discover and mine God up out of yourself and figure all of that out, then time starts to move faster. So things that used to take you a long time don't take you as long when you start to learn and practice these principles. You start collapsing time. And then time becomes an illusion. It's interesting, right? Time becomes an illusion, and you'll see your physical body begin to reflect the fact that you've collapsed time, that it's a physical, that it's an illusion. I'm not saying that your physical body is not going to grow old, but you won't grow old as fast if you keep building and developing yourself and having dreams that you are working to fulfill, writing history that you're working to walk into. See, if there's no movement going on in your spirit, then you're going to start looking old because you're going to stop moving. You're going to get slow. Your muscles are going to start to atrophy. People are going to see it on you. You're just not going to be motivated. You're laying around. You're doing nothing. But if you have a dream, if you have a desire, if you have something inside of you that you're working on that requires you to be a different person, that requires you to change, then you start collapsing time. Now, let me say this one thing about that, because we also have to stop looking at time. We have to stop looking at time as it relates to what society sees as time. Okay? So society, because we're still living in the Willie Lynch mindset, it's the old against the young. And so maybe if you've matured in your age, and maybe if your look has changed, society will tell you, well, you can't do this anymore, or you shouldn't be doing that anymore, or you should retire and go sit down and do nothing. That's a colonized way of looking at time, because the colonizer had to make sure that he looked at time based on what you were able to produce for him. So that is the context in which he viewed and views time. So when you're younger and you can pick more cotton and you can oversee more plantations, or you can work in more factories, or you can make more widgets because maybe you're a little faster and you're a little stronger. He's going to see that time as more valuable, but that doesn't mean that God sees time like that. He's going to look at you and say, okay, well, you can't work the way you used to, you starting to forget. I don't even like the way you look no more. He's looking at you and saying, because you're in this time in your life, you are of less value to me. But God is saying, because you are in this time in your life, you're still valuable to me. So God doesn't have the same concept of time that the world has. And if we as spiritual people are still walking around looking at time the same way as the colonizer does, then we got some work to do. We got some work to do. All right. Okay. So with that, that's my download today on leadership. Keeping our word, building our will. That's day 4 of the Sajdah Deca Fest. Let me see what day 5 is. I should have had this memorized, but I've been so busy just meditating on it and looking to see just kind of how I can really develop this. Okay, so day 5 is resilience and strength, overcoming obstacles and the strength required to maintain integrity and perseverance. That's a big one. So I just put that in my vibration and we see what downloads we get tomorrow morning. So thank you all for getting up, for chiming in early in the morning. I appreciate this. This gives me an excuse to have a 6 a.m. show every day, which is what is interesting because it's something that I wanted to do, sort of like a morning, I don't know, like the Breakfast Club, just sort of like a morning motivation, a morning thing. So after the 10 days, we'll see what's going to happen and what will evolve and what will transpire. Let me know in the chat if you're signed up for Financial Trauma Bootcamp Part 2. Again, remember, most of us as colonized people, whether we're Black, white, Asian, or whatever, the more colonized we are, the more trauma we are experiencing. And trauma has become the buzzword, and healing has become the rage in our community, which is great. People are starting to go to counseling. People are starting to pay attention to their mental health, but we're forgetting in many cases about the financial trauma. So after we get ourselves all healed, we sitting up and then money is still a god. What we want to do is money has to be reduced and put in its rightful place. And I won't say it that way. We're not trying to reduce you money. We're just trying to rise above it so that we're not worshiping money. We're not making money our God. We're not looking at money in a certain way. Okay? We want to get new language. We want to get new tools so that we can overcome the chronic poverty that we've been restricted to as marginalized people. We're always battling that because that's in our epigenetics. Well, let's get new language and a new way to deal with it so that we're thinking differently. We're talking differently. We're looking at money differently. We're navigating through trauma. We're preventing ourselves from having experiences that have a negative effect on us, a heavy negative effect on us, to the point where it creates a chronic problem or a long-term traumatic situation. All right. So let me know in the chat if you signed up. Use this QR code that's up here, right there. Use that QR code, get signed up. It's only $88 per household. Only $88 per household. So you can sign up one time, gather everybody around the computer, and let's shine some light. See, all of this trauma and all of this these bad experiences that we have around money, it's just darkness that needs some light. And we're going to shine some light on that. Some of you may be saying, well, I don't got no trauma around money. Well, are you in a position where you got all the money you need to have all the options you want? And if you are, then come and give us some of the language that you use. If you're not, then there's always room to grow and tweak. Okay. Let's see. Last few comments. Thank you for taking the time. Get volume 1 and 2 table talks by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Absolutely. Brother said, I absolutely need this. All praises due to Allah. Okay, good. Praise be to Allah, to everyone. Wishing each and every one of you more goodness than you've ever experienced or imagined. Sign up for the financial boot camp. If you're enjoying this Sajdah Deca Fest, if you're enjoying any of the content that you're getting at no charge, then just Cash App, give a love offering. Sajdah Enterprises. If you had to take a spiritual, if you had to go on a spiritual retreat, if you went on a spiritual boot camp, if you responded to an ad where somebody is naming and packaging it up and teaching you this, they would charge you a pretty penny. And we're offering free game here on this channel to help you navigate the world, primarily the world of business, but navigate in general. See, doing for self is a great way to build your faith, but it can be a very painful process without some of these tools, without some of this language that we can offer so that you can begin to work on yourself and go inside of yourself and grow and develop. So support, love offering, Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises, and make sure you sign up for the Financial Trauma Bootcamp, and stay tuned for updates on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House Museum. We're going to be making some announcements very, very soon. All right. Peace and blessings, family. Love you all, and happy Monday. Anticipate and mitigate the emotional impact of negative financial issues that could potentially create financial trauma. Identify whether or not your relationship with money is negatively impacted by a previously traumatic event. Learn to manage your decisions and mindset to help prevent the onset of financial trauma. Understand how to handle financially devastating events like foreclosure, how to avoid getting into a situation that threatens your property, and how to save your property if you are in pre-foreclosure or foreclosure. Navigate your way through a divorce and how to potentially avoid financial devastation to your family. You will walk away with resources to help you start, manage, and scale your business. You'll walk away with resources who can help you to avoid and prevent foreclosures. You also walk away with resources to help you avoid and navigate divorce. You will walk away knowing that you are not alone. Be a friend and tell a friend. Register today.